Hi guys, and welcome to this afternoon's show of Autism Journeys. I'm delighted to say we've got a great lineup again today for you. We've got the lovely Patricia O Leary from Autism Friendly Shop in Cork, and we've also got the lovely Catriona from the Prepare Me programme. So I'm going to get right to it, and I'm going to introduce our first guest, Patricia O Leary. I'm so glad, Patricia, that you agreed to come on the show today, and I know that you're working tirelessly at the moment to make sure that people are aware of the kind of needs of our autistic community, to make sure that their sensory needs are made aware of. So I might get started, if that's okay, with some questions for you.
That's fine.
Okay, so first things first, where did your interest in autism come from?
My interest in autism came from when I was actually a teenager myself. I was born and reared in Dublin, and I used to pass St. Michael's House on my way home from school, and I started doing voluntary work there in the residential units.
Okay.
And I always wanted to go into the area of disability somewhere along the way. So I did about 2 years voluntary work there at the weekends, and sadly that was the time when people were behind closed doors.
Okay.
And they weren't accepted in our community. So I got married then, had my own family, and when my youngest boy went to secondary school, I decided I would go back to further education and study autism. That's what I always wanted to do.
Fabulous. So when you were volunteering, Patricia, were you involved a lot with individuals that were perhaps non-verbal, or individuals that were considered more classically autistic at that time? I was, and I was involved with people who had Down syndrome. They had varying abilities and disabilities. Nearly all of them were non-verbal. Okay. And the supports and education just wasn't there in the community. It was at a time where people couldn't understand my interest in it. Okay. You know, why I wanted to go in and volunteer in these areas. But it was something I always had a passion for, and I always wanted to get more involved in. Okay, so I suppose you were, you knew where your path was going to lead you even at that young an age, really. Oh, I did, definitely. Good. And my family would certainly have known that. Great. You know? I suppose it takes a very specific or particular person to want to work, or to feel impassioned to work with individuals with specific disabilities and stuff. It probably does. It does. And most people think, my interest came out of having someone in my family who was special needs, but it didn't. It was always there. Okay. And it was kind of when my own family were getting older that I had the time to go back and study and do something about what I always wanted to do. Good. And can I ask you, I know you've told me, but just for everybody else, where did you study about autism, and how did you pick up on your adult education? I studied in UCC in Cork. And it was actually an open day UCC had in City Hall. Okay. And for adults wanting to go back to further education. And I went up there, spoke to a couple of people who were on that particular stand, and said, right, I'm going to try this. I had never gone to college. So at the time, the course I was doing, you could do 1 year or 2 years. So I said, right, I'll see, can I get through 1 year? Yeah. And I did my first year, graduated with honours. So I said, right, I'm going for the second year. Fab. And I graduated with honours the second year. And I suppose once I started on that road in UCC, that was all I wanted to do. Okay. So I learnt an awful lot there from my lecturers and the other people in my class. Some of my peers would have had maybe family on the spectrum. Yeah. So I would have learnt an awful lot through that. And, I suppose all my spare time now goes into helping people on the spectrum, whether, they're verbal, they're non-verbal, they're children, they're adults. It doesn't matter to me. Fabulous. Yeah, no, I know I did the Autism Spectrum Studies course on the very first intake before there was even a diploma, and I would have been the first intake as well. Right. As an aside, are you planning on further education again, or do you think that you've hit that level of where you're at right now? I think I would like to go on. I think, I would like to go further with what I know. Okay. I have the utmost respect for
everyone who has autism, who's dealing with autism on a daily basis. I suppose where I'm coming from is I'm not as tied up in the daily needs of the person in the spectrum.
Yeah.
So I have the time to go out and try and make things easier for daily living.
Fabulous.
So, I'm willing to take on that challenge. Every parent I meet, they've so many needs to get through for their child or teenager or young adult that they don't have the time to do what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
And I understand what's needed, but they just don't have the time and to put that effort in for what's needed. What I have found through education, and certainly now through meeting people all the time, that in schools we have the autism classrooms, which are great, and they slowly integrate the child into mainstream school. We have a lot of them coming up, the ASD units in secondary schools. But what we haven't prepared children for is daily living.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the area I'm trying to hit at, because we can get our child through junior school, through secondary school, but how can they go to college?
Absolutely.
Because they can't go to the supermarket and buy milk. They can't go in and buy a new pair of jeans. They can't. It's the basic everyday living skills that we're lacking for them.
Perfect.
And that's the area I'm trying to hit.
Good. And can I ask you, Patricia, do you work in an autism service, or do you currently just work on your own time, we'd say, trying to make things a little bit easier?
I work on my own time. Myself and my husband have our own business.
Okay.
So we're running that now with nearly 20 years. So I'm lucky insofar as I can switch work around, so I can go out and I can do what I want to do for autism.
Great.
So a lot of the time I give up my Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Or I try and get up early. I might get up at 5 in the morning.
Wow.
So I can do something for autism at 11 o'clock in the day.
Okay, fair dues.
I literally work around what I can with my job, because I'm more flexible.
Good.
So, but sometimes it does mean getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and working, or working late into the night, so I can accommodate doing something for autism.
Great.
But it's worth it, and I have my family's support, because I'm not always here at weekends. Like I'm currently training Marks and Spencer stores, so I'm missing a lot of Saturday and Sundays, and I have to travel. But my family accommodate me in that. It's not, oh no, she's gone again.
Yeah.
It's, well, what can we do to help?
Well, I will say this, Patricia, is that your passion for what you're speaking about immediately shines through. So it's really, really nice as a parent and as a person in the autism community. It's really nice to hear somebody speak with such passion about wanting to make such positive change.
I believe in what I do. I suppose that's the biggest thing. I really do believe that it works. Like Marks and Spencer's now in Patrick Street in Cork, they're doing the autism friendly shopping now with 2 years, and they run autism events throughout the year. So we had a silent Santa, and we had a Minions tea party in the between December and April.
Yeah.
And I would invite anyone to come to these events when we run them. You really have to experience the magic, that the difference in the atmosphere, when the staff understood, when the lighting is correct, there's no music, there's no paging, when the atmosphere is so calm that you can bring all these people together who are on the spectrum and watch everybody happy and relax
and see that calmness.
Relax. It is just magic.
Fab.
People say to me, well, how many people on autism attend? I say, I don't know. Because you don't know. And the one thing I really try and get across to people is there's no look on autism. Someone doesn't look autistic.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's to get that through to people that don't assume, that a child is being bold.
Yeah.
Because they look as beautiful as any other human being.
Yeah.
And don't prejudge people, don't prejudge families.
Yeah.
Because, time and time again, people have said to me, And it's no disrespect to someone with Down syndrome, but I wish my child had Down syndrome, because people make allowances because they can visibly see a disability.
Yeah, I suppose for people with autism, you are looking at that hidden disability element.
It is very much a hidden disability.
You know, exactly. And I suppose people do tend sometimes to judge somebody based on the behaviour that they see, because they're not educated on what that behaviour may be because of. Do you know?
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, there's so many wonderful people out there with this Down syndrome. They're pure characters.
Yeah.
I met them only a couple of weeks ago at a coffee morning, and I mean, these guys were just pure characters.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's lovely, but because people can see there's a difference, it makes it easier.
Yeah, and I suppose same said for when you see somebody that has a physical disability, a visible disability, somebody will automatically make that kind of an accommodation, whereas for individuals with autism, that isn't the case. And unfortunately, I suppose you're talking about autism units in primary schools and in secondary schools and accommodations and so on. But at the moment, I know that lots of people are facing into young adulthood and indeed older adulthood, and not quite sure on how to move forward or how to deal with things, because we have yet to catch up with those autistic adults and their needs. Do you know?
We do, and it's extremely difficult. Like, there's a high dropout rate for children on the spectrum in secondary school, and we need to capture that and get them through secondary school.
Yeah, and I suppose we're lucky that we're at a point now where we're starting to notice and see that, and that people are starting to put things in place so that the dropout rates aren't as high. So I suppose things, albeit slowly, things are moving forward. Do you know?
They are moving forward, and you know what I see is the willingness of staff. They want to be educated. Yeah. When I go into stores, you know, I do a PowerPoint presentation. I explain to them as best I can, because we all know autism is so complex.
Yeah.
And you know, they want to know, they want to help, they want to work during these hours.
Yeah.
And things are falling in place for staff as well, as in, you know, they say, it never really occurred to me there could be a reason why a child starts screaming. Now I know there could be a reason.
Yeah.
Or for the adult with autism, that, you know, I tell them, go over there and go right and go left and you'll find the cafe. But it never occurred to me that they can't follow that direction.
Yeah, because you've got more than one. Yeah.
Exactly. So things are actually falling in place for the staff in stores. Yeah. So they're very much aware now of a person's needs. And it's making it easier, even if the lights don't affect a person or the music don't affect a person, they're more aware that the person coming into them may not always be able explain what they want or find what they want.
Exactly. Now I'm going to pull you back for 1 second, Patricia, and ask you I suppose 2 questions both together. Is one, when did you start this venture? And 2, I would love for you to explain to me exactly what a sensory friendly environment is, so that my listeners can hear, and any business owners that might be listening in will hear what that is.
Okay, I started back in 2015.
Okay.
I was 1 year into my studies, and I asked Eugene Scally, who owns my local Super Value, would he trial this for me, because it was a theory I had. So 70% of people who have autism also have what's called sensory processing disorder.
Yeah.
Now, for those people who don't know what that is, it's where our senses can be extremely heightened or extremely lowered. Now, for people who senses are extremely heightened, it would be like trying to go into a concert. Okay, we had Ed Sheeran concert.
Yeah.
So you put yourself in Ed Sheeran's concert, and somebody is trying to ask you what you want. You must buy a new pair of shoes. You must try them on. You must listen to them. The lights are flashing. The music is blaring. That's what it's like for the person on the spectrum when they walk into an ordinary store.
Yeah.
Everything is heightened for them.
Yeah.
They can't concentrate. They can't pay attention. So in order to combat that, if you lower the lighting in a store, The way I would say to any store is, if you go onto emergency lighting, you kind of go onto half lighting, and your store can still remain open. We're talking about maybe half lighting, no music in the store, no paging systems working, because the suddenness of the paging system beeping on and off is very disorientated for someone on the spectrum. And staff education is paramount in getting this to work.
Okay.
And once you change the sensory environment and there's no sensory overload happening, people on the spectrum can shop quite happily in the environment.
And can I ask you, Patricia, with regards to the sensory elements being dampened down in store, do shops offer additional visual kind of supports around floor plans or around routes, we'd say, navigating from the main door into the ladies section or into the child section, or is there an additional visual element of support in that?
No, there isn't an additional element of support, because what I have found personally is that shops constantly change where the things are.
Yeah.
So what works today won't work tomorrow.
Okay.
Because staff, depending on when the summer clothes come in, the winter clothes, they change departments around on different floors.
Yeah.
So in order for that to work, you're asking a shop never to change anything in their store.
Yeah.
Which isn't really going to be appropriate, and it's not going to work. You take Christmas stock, that's always changed, and the shop is changed around, so it's not really going to work. What I suppose my idea is focusing on is getting the person into the shop.
Yeah.
Because up until now, what was happening was families weren't doing daily living tasks. They weren't going to the supermarket together, and they weren't going clothes shopping. What was happening was one parent stayed at home while the other parent went and did the shopping.
Absolutely.
So there was no family time, and siblings were missing out. What this is doing is offering a family a chance to go into a restaurant or a supermarket or a department store and get further than the front door.
Yeah, and I suppose it does actually, if you have a person with autism who is sensorily heightened almost, if you can get that individual to go into a shop, you're then able to teach the child contextually what they need to learn.
And what you're hoping then is, we'll say, the shops, Marks and Spencer shop, do it for 2 hours, in the morning, on a Sunday morning. So what you're hoping is that if the child or young adult is comfortable with that environment, well, when the lights come back on, that maybe they can tolerate 5 minutes of it, or 10 minutes of it. And eventually, over a period of time, now I could be talking years here, it depends on the person, but they will eventually be able to tolerate shopping in every environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's to get them into the shop is the first step.
Yeah.
If they only walk through it the first day, that's the first step. Yeah. So it's all about first, and it's allowing a family to go together, that at least maybe on a Sunday morning they can all have breakfast in a restaurant, something they have never done before.
Yeah.
They've never experienced family living that we take for granted.
Yeah.
And that is something special. To see an entire family be able to sit down or go shopping together. Now, most of us say, I hate shopping. But for a family who's never done it, that's a wonderful experience.
It's huge. It's the baby steps. And I do think, I suppose, you mentioned earlier about independence and kind of daily living tasks and daily living skills. And one of the tasks that people have to be able to complete in order to live independently is to purchase and organise food for the week, or organise what drinks they need for the week. They need to be able to organise underwear or toiletries or whatever. So it is very much the very first step is to be able to get the individual to take a step in, even if it's only one step in the door and spending a couple of seconds the first time.
Exactly.
That's perfectly fine, because it is something that they have achieved that perhaps they haven't done previously to that.
Without a doubt. And you ask any family who has someone on the spectrum, this is an achievement for their child.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't see that big achievement. But it's a very special moment for that family to be able to do this as a family.
Yeah.
You know, and to know that even if it does go wrong the first couple of times they go in, there's no judgment.
Yeah.
No one is going to stand and say, you're a bad parent.
Yeah. And I think it's that safe space as well to allow a person to learn, to make mistakes, to get back up, to wipe themselves off and to try again without that judgment, as you state, because it's so often individuals go into shops and you may have a child that is having a difficult moment, and that's perfectly fine, but people do automatically you can have this throwing the eyes to heaven or throwing these odd looks and that kind of a tutting, and you know, so it's really good that there is a space available for somebody to go in to learn and to not be judged. Exactly.
Yeah.
And can I ask you, Patricia, in your experience, are more and more shops getting on board as time is... Now, because you've mentioned Marks and Spencer's and you've mentioned Scally's, SuperValu, is there anywhere else that you find has started to take these things on board?
Brown Thomas have taken it on as well in Cork.
Great.
So I suppose the key to this working is staff training.
Okay.
I will stand over that, because you can go so far. You know, you can change the environment, but your staff must also be what I call autism friendly. They must understand the needs of the people coming into the store.
Great.
And that's why I feel, you know, education is paramount if you want to turn your store autism friendly. A simple thing like, we'll say, I actually have a dog for my canine companion, and she's an autism service dog.
Yeah.
And I took her on. She's now the ambassador dog for my canine companion. But the amount of time shops will turn around and say, guide dogs only.
Yeah, I understand.
And you're saying, no, this dog can go where a guide dog goes.
Yeah.
Now, that's fine for me. Okay, I'm not trying to deal with a child who is attached to this dog and needs this dog with them. But for that family who's told guide dogs only, that could be the end of that child going into a shop for another 6 months.
Absolutely, because it's a big deal to get out and to get to the point of even getting to the door of that shop.
Exactly. It could have taken them 2 hours to get to the shop.
Absolutely.
And then they're told guide dogs only. Now, it's happened to me time and time again.
Yeah.
And I'd say, sorry, you know, I'm not a confrontational person. I'd say, I'm sorry now, this dog has the same rights as the guide dog you're speaking about, and I keep going.
Yeah.
I just say, look, check it out if you want, and I keep going. But that's very, very difficult for the person who has the child with them.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, it's exhausting. As a parent, it is exhausting at times to have to continuously repeat over and over and over again that actually this is an assistance dog. Exactly.
Absolutely exhausting. Like, nobody sees, it's like, you know, listening to parents, like a military precision operation to get these children out.
Yeah.
And then you have one person say that, and everything is undone.
Yeah, it's just derailing the whole...
It is. So education, to me, is paramount for every shop.
Absolutely.
You know, because people don't really know what autism is, and I'm not standing here and claiming I am the expert on autism.
Yeah.
But I also, what I can stand here and say is that, yes, I know their needs.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to families every day.
Yeah.
I'm the one that you'll find in the middle of a store down on my knees with some child, so my dog can calm them.
Yeah. So it's evidence-based, really. So like what you're saying, Patricia, is it's evidence-based, and that it works. It works. I know that we've gone into Marks and Spencer's during those quiet hours. I know that Marks does 10 to 12 on a Sunday morning.
That's right.
And I've been in there on a Sunday morning, and things are absolutely beautifully calm. Beautifully calm. Yeah. Genuinely now, I can actually stand over and say that, and I know people who have experienced Marks and Spencer's on a Sunday morning and have been able to go and buy even school uniforms and those like things that you absolutely have to get, that you have no choice but to go to a shop for. But you know, can I ask you, Patricia, with regards to I know you mentioned Brown Thomas and you mentioned Scally's. How can people experience, like where do they go to get this experience? What times are shops available? What times are...
Well, I put it up on, it's all on my Facebook page, which is Autism Friendly Shopping Cork.
Great.
And, or if it's on AFS for Ireland.
Okay.
But I would say check the times. You know, we're doing it, I am doing it store by store because I believe that's the right way to do it.
Okay.
It's a slower process, but at least when the store says they're autism friendly, they are autism friendly.
Okay.
The staff, the security staff, the management, everybody knows what's happening.
Good.
It's not guesswork at any stage for these stores. They're putting the time and effort in to train their staff. And that is the key to it working.
Great.
You know, and that's why I suppose Marks and Spencer's and Patrick Street have gone above and beyond with that.
Absolutely.
Holding their autism-friendly events. Like you mentioned, the uniforms, Marks and Spencer's do sensory-friendly uniforms.
They do indeed.
And I didn't even realise that till I started the autism-friendly shopping.
Okay.
So to coincide with that, last year what we did was we had a uniform day where parents could come in their own time sort the uniforms for their children. But as a distraction, we had colouring for the children, we had drinks, we had little buns or sweets or whatever. So it made it a fun day for the child to try on their uniform instead of a tearful day.
And would you think that will be a possibility again for this coming year?
Oh, yeah. Well, it'll definitely go ahead this year because the children, we had no tears.
Great.
We had no meltdowns. We had no upset. If the child wanted to take a break, they can take a break.
Fabulous.
I always bring my dog to these events. So if a child needs the dog, they can use the dog. You know, my dog will literally work with any child.
Fabulous.
And, you know, it's a big thing for these children to actually go in and have to try on their uniforms.
Yeah.
And this is such a nice way of doing it.
I know. And do you know, you mentioned as well a while ago about families experiencing different things and stuff. And it actually takes the need out of having to online shop all of the time.
It
because
does.
The child won't, do you know, if an environment is suitable, if you change the environment to meet the child's needs, it allows for the child to do those things that we do.
Exactly.
Assume are typical, if you know what I mean. So I think it's fab. I'll be keeping an eye on your page and stuff and finding out, or maybe you could let us know when it's going to, when this uniform day is going to happen and stuff, so that, like, as I know, I have lots of parents listening into the show,
right?
You know, so I suppose another question for you, Patricia, is how do people get in touch, or where is there a website or a page that someone can go to check out what shops are sensory friendly?
Yeah, well, they can go on to my Facebook page.
Perfect.
Any shop that's on my Facebook page, I have gone in, I have trained the staff, and I can stand over the fact they're autism friendly.
Okay. Will you call out your Facebook page for me?
It's Autism Friendly Shopping Cork.
So Autism Friendly Shopping Cork. If somebody puts a Facebook search in to Autism Friendly Shopping Cork. Perfect.
And the only shops I put up on those are the ones that I can stand over that are autism friendly.
Okay.
You know, for a shop to tell me I'm autism friendly, well, I don't know how autism friendly they are.
Okay.
I can't send parents to a shop that I haven't trained, or I'm not sure that they're going to get the reception they should be getting.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I do. It does, absolutely.
Like, there's no point in Joe Blogs telling me his shop is autism friendly, because I don't know for sure. Will the lights go off on time? Will they come on time?
Yeah.
Do the staff...
Are the staff actually aware and educated in what autism is?
These people's needs.
Yeah.
Because you can't send somebody in for an autism-friendly experience and it go wrong. Because that shop can actually do damage. They can do more harm than good. Absolutely. So I can only stand over where I have been and say, right, I have trained these staff. And you have faith in them delivering the service that you're speaking of. Exactly. Good. And that's where, and I mean, I keep going back to these shops and making sure it's working. I do walk-arounds, you know. I engage with the people that are there, and I make sure it's working.
Fab.
Because it's not enough to say, okay, you're up and running, goodbye and good luck. I constantly get feedback, and because I need that feedback in case I do something wrong first off.
Yeah.
And also people can say, well, do you know, this might work better. As I say, the best people to speak on this, on their needs, are the people affected.
Yeah.
Daily with autism.
So I suppose if somebody did have a suggestion around their own specific or their child's sensory needs, that it would be okay. Would it be okay with you for them to maybe drop you a message on Facebook or whatever to let you know?
I'm more than happy. Look, the last event we ran in Marks and Spencer's, I had one mum who contacted me, and her boys were both gluten-free and nut-free, I think it was. They had 2 specific dietary needs.
Okay.
But all products had to be free of both things. And I said to her, I guarantee you we'll have something for your children.
Fabulous, fabulous.
So we made sure that was our priority that day.
Good.
That she could bring her children to Marks and Spencer's, and we could accommodate with food and drink.
And that's all people. That is genuinely what all parents want. Ultimately, is for people to understand and accommodate and allow for their children to.
Like, we do not want to. If we run something, we do not want to have to exclude any child from it.
Fabulous.
Like
absolutely.
I said to the mother, look, if I have to find something myself, we will have something there.
That's hugely positive.
That was the bottom line on it. There's no second guesses.
Good.
We will accommodate any parent that needs to be accommodated, and we'll any adult on the spectrum or any child's needs. And if we can't, we will do our damnedest to get it right.
Fabulous.
You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
We don't want any child excluded. They've listened. Look, these families have had exclusion their entire lives.
Yeah.
And I suppose I'm just about inclusion. We should be including each and every one of these children and adults, because adults who have difficulty shopping can be very well educated.
Yeah.
They can hold down better jobs than you or I.
Yeah.
You know, they could be president, but they're going to find it very difficult to go into a shop.
Yeah. Definitely. Come here, Patricia, I've got one final question for you. How can businesses get on board? How do they contact you, or what is the first step that they need to take? I'm
always contactable through my Facebook page.
Okay.
I can also give my mobile number.
Okay, so do you want to call that out?
I can. It's 087 812 6549.
Okay, so I'm going to call that back out. It's 087 812 6549.
Yes.
And people can contact you on that and on your autism friendly shopping Cork.
And I also have an email address.
Okay.
Which is autismfriendlyshopping.
Okay.
at gmail.com.
So that's autismfriendlyshopping
at gmail.com.
So people, if they want to get on board, this is where they need to contact you, and that you can get them on the first step, I suppose. Patricia, thank you so much for coming on the show today. You are absolutely, your passion seeps through.
Thank you.
It absolutely does. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you today, and I've no doubt that our paths will cross soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Take care.
Bye.
Now, guys, I'm just going to play a song while I get my next guest, Catriona Waters, on the phone. So here, in honour of Ed Sheeran's visit over the last weekend, I hope people aren't sick of listening to it. Here comes Galway Girl.
Think on your arm, said it was one of my friend's songs. Do you want to drink on? She took Jamie as a chaser, Jack for the fun. She got Arthur on the table with Johnny riding a shotgun. Chatted some more, one more drink at the bar, then put Van on the jukebox, got up to dance. You know she played her fiddle in an Irish band, but she fell in love with an Englishman. Kissed her on the neck and then I took her by the hands. And baby, I just wanna dance with my pretty little Galway girl. You're my pretty little Galway girl. Hey. You know she beat me at darts and then she beat me at pool, and then she kissed me like there was nobody else in the room. As last orders were called was when she stood on the stool after dancing.
So, hi guys, and welcome back. Now, I'm absolutely delighted to have the lovely Catriona Waters from the Prepare Me movement on the show. So, welcome, Catriona.
Hi, Sharon.
Great. So, Catriona, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for agreeing to come on the air today. I suppose I felt it was important to interview you today. I know I've checked out some of your products, and I find them to be absolutely wonderful. So I felt it was important that other people hear all about this wonderful, innovative product that you've come up with. So I'm going to start with, first of all, where did this idea come from, or what was your motivation for coming up with it?
So Prepare Me came from almost 20 years working in the disability sector. I can't believe I'm almost 20 years working in that line, but I am. And I also have a beautiful little nephew who is 10 and autistic, and I have a brother-in-law with an intellectual disability. So I suppose I have a professional and personal insight into disability, if you like. And I suppose the idea really came from every day at work when you are working in the disability sector. It is ability that hits you in the face and bites you on the nose every moment of every day. And I just got really frustrated and tired of seeing simple, in inverted commas, everyday experiences just go dreadfully wrong for some of the people that I support, purely because they didn't know what to expect or they did not feel prepared going into them.
Perfect.
So that was one of the main things. And the other thing was, no more than anybody else that works in the disability sector or any parent that has a child with an additional need, we were constantly, and we are constantly, building visual resources at work. You know, I've been laminated and velcroed within an inch of my life.
I know the feeling.
I'm sure lots of parents can relate to that. And I found it really difficult to get access to the images that I actually might need in order to prepare somebody for something. So that was the other thing that brought Prepare Me around.
Perfect. So will you explain to me exactly what it is you do, so Catriona, for anybody that hasn't heard of Prepare Me before?
Absolutely. So Prepare Me is an early stage startup social enterprise. We will be a not-for-profit. And we basically build visual resources that support children and adults with additional need for informed experiences in everyday settings. So we build video models, picture stories, visual schedules, and other resource packs that might help prepare somebody to feel informed and empowered when they go into an everyday setting, such as visiting the doctor or the dentist or having a haircut or going for a hospital appointment, etc.
Great. Now, I know that I've seen the wonderful doctor's pack that you've piloted in the last while and stuff. Yes. Would you tell me about the pilot programme and the results that you've had with it to date?
Absolutely. So we've ran 2 pilots over the last 6 months or so. So what we did initially was we surveyed about 220 parents of children and adults with additional needs, and we asked them what was the most difficult everyday experience for them to navigate currently. And very sadly, most of them came back and said everything was difficult. And, you know, quite a few parents said any environment where they couldn't avoid bringing their child or adult to was particularly difficult. It just goes to show the level of isolation that some of these families are currently experiencing. But the number one experience that came out again and again and again was the doctors and hospital appointments alongside everything else. So we decided then that we would build our first set of resources all around a typical visit to the doctors. So we partnered with the primary care centre here in Athenry, the surgery Athenry in the primary care centre, and we got 2 fantastic actors, a young lady called Rosalind and a young boy called Joshua, both of whom have additional needs, and they acted in a video model, one for a child and one for an adult, that just brings you through the whole experience of a typical visit to the doctors. So we recorded those video models, made 2 really good video models with simple language voiceovers, and then we used those visuals to make a picture book for both the child and an adult that again would bring you through the same experience using simple language, breaking the whole experience down visually. And then we also built a set of visual schedules again for a child or adult which would depict visually the typical things that you would expect to happen during a typical doctor's examination.
Great.
We rolled that out in the primary care centre, so on their website, if you go to athenrysurgery.ie and just click on the Prepare Me logo, people will be able to find a little bit more out about that pilot. So basically, a child or adult could watch the video before they went to the surgery. When they were in the waiting room, they would be able to read the picture story, and then in each doctor's consultation room, there would be a visual schedule which the doctor could use with the child or adult to help pace and guide the experience for the person. So that was that pilot. So we did that, and we were very gung-ho, and we still are, that we really want services to provide these visuals for people. We don't want it to be the continuous responsibility of a parent to get these visuals together, and that is still, a main motivating factor for us. But parents very much came back as a result from that pilot, which was really successful, and said, this is wonderful, but we need it at home. And we took that on board and understood that. So we put together parent packs, resource packs that we sent out to 25 young children and adults around the country that included all of the visuals that I've just told you about. But we also included the medical equipment that a child would typically be exposed to.
Absolutely.
During a typical doctor visit, that you've gotten to see, Sharon. And the children basically used the resource pack at home with mum or dad, so they watched the video, they read the story, they modelled the equipment maybe on a doll or on mum or dad, or on themselves, and they gradually desensitised to something that may have been quite difficult for them initially. And then after about a week or two, they brought the pack with them for a checkup, and they transferred the skill then using the pack. And it's been really successful so far, I'm delighted to say.
That's absolutely fabulous. I know that I was speaking to another parent, and I showed her all of the bits and bobs, the blood pressure machine and all these different things. Yeah. And the very first question she had for me was, what about if a child needs bloods taken? So I was saying, I'm not sure whether or not you have anything up and running for that or not, or whether she'd contact you directly, or...
Well, that's definitely on our to-do list. Our plan is to build a whole library of resources that will be easily accessible to parents and easily accessible to service providers as well. So that's our plan. We plan to do a whole range of resources all around healthcare, on getting bloods taken, having a vaccination, typical asthma care or diabetic care, and all of the typical experiences that a child or adult might be exposed to. But this pilot was our very first resource, so we could test the concept and gather some evidence to ensure that it really works and get good feedback from the people that are using it.
Fabulous. So tell me, what kind of things can people... I know now you've mentioned a lot of medical areas and stuff there about asthma care and all that. What other topics can people expect to see from Prepare Me as ye grow?
Well, we hope, the sky is the limit. Prepare me for anything. But I suppose at the moment we are thinking about doing another range all around what you might expect at the doctors. The dentist has been something that's come up again and again with parents, and haircuts is one that I really, really wanted to do. Because, I've been on the receiving end with a couple of the people that I support, and I've seen how difficult that can be for some of the children and adults that I work with, and I'd really like to put together a really good resource pack for that.
That'd be fab.
But we would love to hear from parents or people with additional needs themselves to tell us what it is that they would like to see Prepare Me do. And hopefully if we get a bit of a springboard of funding or support, we'll be able to move it forward.
Fantastic. Can I ask you, Catriona, ages, these products, what ages would these products suit? Am I right in thinking that it's from the youngest child right up to the oldest adult?
Yeah, you're right in thinking that. Any age really, because they're so visual, they really can be used to support a child as young as 2, even earlier than that.
Great.
Right up to an adult. We've kind of made a commitment that every resource pack that we do, we will build both a child and adult version, because it's very, very difficult to get resources that are suitable for adult use in this kind of area. So we hope to have both child and adult versions.
It'll be brilliant actually to have an adult equivalent as well, because as you say, all too often adults tend to be almost forgotten about. We're looking after the kids, the people under 18, but after 18 things get a little bit more sparse on the ground, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Tell me, Catriona, I know that you got through to boot camp with Social Enterprises Ireland for their awards. What would winning this mean for you?
Oh gosh, so we're through to boot camp with Social Entrepreneurs Ireland. Next Monday is our boot camp.
Wow.
And SEI would have been responsible for, being the springboard for lots of really successful social enterprises like Pieta House and Men's Sheds and Food Cloud. They're a fantastic resource. Yeah, they do amazing work. And we went through their academy process last year and we won that. We got €3,000 seed funding as a result of the academy, and we've used that to build this pilot and test our resource. If we got through to the awards, if we won the award, we would get €10,000 in unrestricted funding, and we would also get a place on an accelerator programme for about 9 months that would give us up to €25,000 in additional practical support.
Fantastic.
So it would be, exactly the type of springboard that Prepare Me would need in order to get a really good code of governance in place, get our board together, and really start to think about how we can scale this concept to make it as accessible to the people that need it most quickly.
And right across the country, not just locally and stuff, because this is it's an innovation that would support everybody. Right across the board, from the south to the north of Ireland and across the world.
And beyond.
Exactly.
We hope to try to be able to come up with a really good tech platform where parents can go online and have access to a full library of resources and be able to use a really easy to use, drag and drop template for a picture story, so they can use some of the stories that we've done already, and they can add in their own images.
Fantastic.
Customize it for their focus person and print it out, and off you go. That people are not spending hours, trying to make the best of Google Images.
And I suppose even by enabling a parent to use their own image, I suppose it removes that need for contextualising for the individual with autism. And trying to take that extra step out of it,
Exactly.
Tell me, do any of us, can any of us vote here, us in the public? Do we have the opportunity to vote for you as potential winners?
Unfortunately, I wish you could, but you can absolutely, lend your support by following us on Facebook. If you type in prepareme.ie, you'll find our Facebook page, or on Twitter we are prepare_me. Our website is being built currently, so that should be up and running in the next few months, but you'll be able to follow everything that we're doing on Facebook. Is probably the best best resource to keep up with where we are, but just to support us and say a little prayer, light a candle.
Fingers crossed, toes crossed, the whole lot. Can I ask you, Catriona, where can people access are people able to access those products yet? Those doctors visit products now and that?
Well, we're just finishing up the pilots that we were running. I do have a couple of resource packs that I should have available in the next couple of weeks. If there are any parents out there who would like to come in kind of last minute and test them with a child or adult, they want to get in touch by dropping an email on info@prepareme.ie.
Okay.
We can do that. Hopefully we will have that resource made available soon. So we're kind of just making small improvements to it and working on getting costs down, because that's a major issue for us, to have it as accessible as possible.
Yeah. I suppose I feel so excited at the thoughts of this, I feel that it's such a wonder. I really do. I know you're giggling, but I feel that it has the potential to make such a huge difference, that I'm kind of excited to hear when it finishes, I'm really excited to hear that it's rolling out completely.
Well, everybody has or should have the right to access information that's written in a language that they can understand.
100%.
That right. And one of the most powerful things that came out of one of the pilots that we did was, one of the doctors said, using the visual schedule with somebody, he said it was the difference between me doing something to that child and doing something with that
the child.
And that's really, really powerful. The doctors is just one example, but nobody likes going to the doctors or being in hospital or anything like that. But in the back of your head, you think this is a safe space and a safe place, and I'm in the right place, I'm in the place where I need to be because I'm sick and it's going to help me. But if you're a child or adult with additional needs and you don't have access to information that can prepare you for what's about to happen, you're really not going to feel safe, and your flight or flight instinct kicks in. Why wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
It would for any of us. So I think it's really, really important that we kind of get back to basics a little bit here, and that services really consider how they present information to people with additional needs, because they have the same right of access as anybody else.
Fabulous. Tell me, Catriona, the next step for production. So we'd say if you don't access funding from these awards, which I actually doubt, I think that you will, but if you don't, are there any other alternative fundings or grants, or is there any way that if anybody happened to be listening in today that they could
if there's anybody listening that could offer any support or help in any way, look, I'd implore them to get in touch. Absolutely. We've had fantastic help so far. We wouldn't have gotten as far as we've gotten without all of the support that people have given us. Look, if we don't get through to the SCI Awards. We're still going to keep going. You know, I am so committed to making this a reality. We will find a way.
Fabulous.
Some way or somehow. You know, there are other funding opportunities coming up next year. We currently have NUI as well. Professor Stephen O'Neill in the Health Economics Department in NUI is very interested in running a research piece on this to prove that there's an economic benefit to ensuring that people have access to visual resources. So, you know, we're pushing forward to it. We're gathering our evidence base all of the time, and, you know, we'll get there. Hell or high water, it's going to happen.
Fabulous. That is, I'm glad to hear that. So listen, one final question for you, Catriona. How do people, I know you've mentioned interspersed throughout our conversation different contact informations and stuff, but how do people get more information, and how do people get in touch with you directly?
So if the best way to get in touch is to drop me an email on info@prepareme.ie.
Okay.
That's info@prepareme.ie.
Great.
Follow us on Facebook. If you just type in prepareme.ie into a search on Facebook, you'll see our logo pop up with the orange and green colouring on it.
Yeah.
And follow us on Twitter. It's prepare_me on Twitter. So that's the best way to get in touch at the moment. Our website would be www.prepareme.ie, and that's being built currently and should be up and running in the next couple of months, please God.
Great. And, you know, I suppose once that's up and running, you can let me know, and I can put it on the Facebook page that I have and all that as well.
Yeah,
just to let people know. Catriona, all I can say, I'm actually, as I say, as a parent, I feel very excited at what's to come. What I really do, I see the benefits, and I see the huge leap forwards that people can make if they're supported in the right way. And definitely, Prepare Me, in my opinion, is a fantastic tool in order to allow people to move forward and to experience things on a positive level instead of on that anxious and uncertain level that they often do. I wish you absolutely every endeavour, and I hope you let us know how you get on, so that I can let listeners know how you get on in our next show. And Catriona, thanks so much for coming on the air today, and I've no doubt I'll be speaking to you again in the near future.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thanks a million, Catriona. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
So, guys, that's literally all we've got time for today. I'm just going to call back out again the information at which you can contact these two wonderful women at. The first one is Patricia O Leary. She's from the Autism Friendly Shopping Cork. Her Facebook page is Autism Friendly Shopping Cork. Her website is autismfriendlyshopping.com, and her phone number that you can contact her on is 087 812 6549. So if anybody is interested in getting on board around sensory friendly environments and all that, she is the person that perhaps somebody should give a ring to. The other lovely lady was Catriona Waters. She is the entrepreneur that has put together this wonderful Prepare Me pack. I will stand over it, and I will give testament to the fact that it is very effectual, and that those pilot programs have been absolutely wonderful in lessening anxiety and in settling things down for children. Entering a doctor's surgery, anxiety levels have come down, and it has been a more positive experience. Her contact details are her website is currently under construction. That will be www.prepareme.ie, and she will let us know, and I will let everybody know when that comes out. Her Facebook page is prepareme.ie if you put that into the Facebook search bar, and you can also email her on info@prepareme.ie, or you can follow her on Twitter at prepare_me. So, guys, that's all I have time for today. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I'm looking forward to being on again in the next couple of weeks. We'll have some more great guests lined up, and until then, have a great couple of weeks. Take care. Take care. Take care. Take care. Take care. Take care.